Yeah, right.
This is the Ring of Honor, a.k.a. Shane T, boy, the baddest champion you ever seen, boy.
This is Mr. Anderson.
This is good old JR Jim Ross, and you are listening.
You're listening to Knockouts and 3 Counts.
Cover! We got a new world champion!
That might be one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen in my life.
Knockouts and 3 Counts is the podcast, baby! It's the real deal, baby!
Knockouts and 3 Counts starts now.
Ooh, what up, though? It is a Thursday. This is Knockouts and 3 Counts, and you know what that means. We are back to flap our gums. We are a little bit over a week away before J-Bone and I hop on a plane and head our ass down to Las Vegas. Chris Kale, we are looking forward to linking up with you. Justin James, I'm looking forward to popping in and seeing what he's looking like ahead of his war with Justin James. Well, with Justin James, good Lord. Julian Lane. Yeah, Justin James is going to fight Justin James.
With
You practicing for Vegas a little early, pal? What's
Hell
going
yeah.
on?
You know, I had one of them big old margaritas, and I thought, you know what? Let's go. Let's go. Man. But that's not what I was trying to do. Yeah, I'm going to check in on Justin James. We'll see what's up. And we're hitting Rampage and Double or Nothing. I mean, we got to see a little bit more of what Double or Nothing is looking like heading into Vegas. I don't know. I was going to save this for like the end of the wrestling segment. But J-Bone, what are you looking forward to with Vegas, bro?
First of all, I just want to get
Hey, yo.
What up? I just want to get through the flight first, man. I'm not much of a flight guy, but once we get through the flight, man, it's all things looking up in Vegas, if you will. They ain't ready for us, man. I'll tell you that. Vegas sees a lot of cool shit, but they ain't seen knockouts and 3 counts yet. So, like I said,
well, they did last year. See, I went 5 a.m. to 5 a.m.
The Motley Crue, the podcast,
about Ric Flair
down.
They haven't seen the modern iteration of knockouts and 3 counts. Either
right,
way.
So we modernized in a year?
Hey, things can
the crew has
switch up pretty quick, man. Pretty quick.
But
no, I'm looking forward to Rampage, dude.
I better be seeing landmarks tagged with them fucking knockouts and 3 count stickers.
You're gonna see the. You're gonna see.
Well, you're the one riding the motorcycle, guy. Why aren't you tagging the stop sign and tagging the mile markers, telling motherfuckers
you don't think I distributed my fair share?
Yeah.
I didn't say you weren't. I just said you're the one out on the bike. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
We're gonna tag Vegas up, dude.
If Vegas was like an 8-hour drive, I would meet you guys out there, but there ain't no way, and I can't. The funds ain't playing for a fight or for a flight right now. That's for sure. So.
You ain't lying. But shit, hey, man, this is actually gonna be my first AEW event, dude.
Yeah, well, tell me about that. You know, I mean, you've gotten to see the clips and all those things. I mean, what are you looking forward to most in Vegas? I mean, we're hitting for sure. We're hitting AEW Rampage on Friday night, and we're going to be going to Double or Nothing on Sunday. Which I'm just going to say, I'm going to be the freshest motherfucker at Double or Nothing. Best there is, best there was, best there ever will be. I'm just saying, hint, hint. But yeah, go ahead.
Don't give it away yet. We'll put it on the vlog. But no, man, I'm looking forward to.
Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the vlog. Because I mean, like I said, you might see Chris Kale, you might see some people get their ass whooped at Extreme Couture. Hell, you might see me die when I work out with Gil Gordado. I mean, all the more reason you might want to hit subscribe.
Jordan's not me, pal. Not me, bro. I'll record it for you though.
Jordan's a puss.
But no, the pay-per-view though.
Real team unity, you son of a bitch. Real team unity.
Shaping up pretty good, man. I'm looking forward to. I want to see a Stadium Stampede match. I don't know if that's weird. I feel like I'm the only one that want to see that. But
damn it, I'm going to be in the arena. You can't see that shit. I want to see it in front of me. I want to see these motherfuckers fight.
Yeah, so now it's just going to be in the arena, so that's cool. But I was looking forward to Stadium Stampede. I, for one, like Stadium Stampede.
I like it if I'm watching it at home, but since I'm going, fuck that. I don't want to see that. I want to see him.
Well, it would have ended up in the arena anyway.
Dude, but it's not like. But the thing is, though, could they really do a stadium stampede like that? Because it's not like Jacksonville where the stadiums are connected. Allegiant Stadium is a far ways from where T-Mobile is. I feel like that wouldn't work unless you already like pre-recorded the shit.
Right. That's probably why they did it that way. But CM Punk going for the title, dude. The more I watch and the closer we get to that, I'm so damn pumped about that. I hope the prediction that we made is going to come true because, like I said, what was it all for?
Prediction.
If he doesn't win, go ahead. I'm taking Punk for the win, taking the strap because, like I said, if he doesn't, what was this all for? Right? The big comeback for what? What'd you do it for?
I wish you would have been able to join us in Chicago because it would have made it even that much like another layer. But to see where, Kyle, I know you can probably attest to this, but to see the initial reaction, the initial like bring in and everything, and then to go from that to where we're at now, where you may very well see him crowned champ, here coming another week, basically, it's got to be a cool feeling as a wrestling fan, huh, Kyle?
I'm happy to see CM Punk back in wrestling, as a lot of wrestling fans are. I think, you heard past guests of the show, Eric Bischoff, which, if you guys are new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can go back and check out a couple of our chats with Eric Bischoff. But Eric Bischoff said that he feels like CM Punk is like the biggest flop as far as the return that AEW has gotten on their investment. With that being said, I mean, I guess in a way I can see what he's saying because it's not like when he came back that it just jumped the numbers. But I mean, I don't know that I would say it's a bad return on his investment. For those of you guys who are watching, what are your thoughts on the return of CM Punk? But with that being said, I don't think that it's a bad return on their investment. But I mean, dude, what else are you going to compare it to? I mean, like the only other real thing that I feel like you can kind of, I guess, compare it to as far as like a return. What are you going to do? You're going to compare it to Stone Cold? Of course, it wasn't as big as Stone Cold, but I mean, Stone Cold's also not back every week either.
I don't know. As an outsider, I truly feel like that was the biggest thing. That was a big rock in the pond, man. I don't feel like
it was a huge moment, but I mean, we're talking 7 years versus 20 years.
Yeah, but the overall splash that made in the pond, and I feel like the to be existential here, I feel like the waves of that are still being felt to this day with AEW. I feel like that really did do a huge. I don't know the exact number for number, or like how many of those fans may have stuck around and stuff, but I mean that was truly like it. It was like the Will Smith, Chris Rock thing on my Twitter for a week and a half. Yeah. Like the anticipation, the like,
I agree.
I really think it's happening and everything like that. And
that's what it's all about. Maybe like the moment.
Maybe 8 months or something, or however, it's been a year or whatever the case it's been. Maybe now the numbers have just kind of settled to where, the fans are still holding true, but I definitely feel like that was a huge splash in the pond, man. That wasn't, to me at least.
I wasn't saying it wasn't significant. I'm just saying, like, they were saying as far as like biggest things, like the only thing you could really compare it to would be Stone Cold, and I definitely wouldn't say it'd be a flop because, like you said, when he came back in Chicago when we were there, it was huge. I mean, I was on vacation, about ready to head to Vegas for SummerSlam, and I was up ready to see what happened when he came back at Rampage just to see what he was going to say, being that the guy hadn't been on TV in how long. So, I mean, definitely not saying that CM Punk didn't have an impact. I'm just saying, you're hearing a lot of people say that it wasn't like the, oh my God, CM Punk's with AEW and AEW is just like essentially just like right up there with WWE now. But I said, go ahead.
I don't think you can rightfully put that on one guy, right? Like there's literally 50, 60, 70 years or whatever of WWF, now WWE, as like the major front runner in wrestling. And so to even be where AEW is, and I feel like the CM Punk thing definitely increased their like overall net value, or however you want to their general share in the wrestling world. It definitely increased that. So I don't know, man.
I mean, think about it this way, dude.
That take to me seems like the ESPN hot take type of shit with wrestling.
Yeah.
That's what that seems like to me.
That shit broke major news. That was on like not wrestling news. You know what I mean? That shit was everywhere. And think about like the shirt sales. You remember the shirt sales went through the roof.
There's no arguing that fact. I mean, like I said, I'm not saying it didn't make I'm not personally saying it didn't make a splash. I'm saying a lot of people are up in arms because of what Eric Bischoff said and saying that him coming to AEW was a flop as far as return on investment. I am not saying that. I mean, obviously, AEW is the clear number 2 at this point to WWE. And I mean, as far as when we're talking about going into Double or Nothing and all that kind of stuff as well, like I said, I am looking forward to this match with him and Hangman Adam Page, even though I think Hangman maybe really needs to get a little bit longer reign. I don't know that I would be too shocked if CM Punk comes out with the AEW championship. I mean, if we're being completely honest. And speaking of picks for AEW Double or Nothing, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, because if we have any fans of Busted Open here on this show, or MMA Today, or just Sirius XM Fight Nation, we're going to have our buddy Ryan McKinnell, who me and J-Bone are getting ready to go see again in Vegas, and who happened to be sitting with Corey and I at All Out in Chicago. So we're going to link up with the homie McKinnell when we're in Vegas as well. Who knows? Maybe we'll run into Gringo Loco again. You can check that out if you hit the subscribe button. Cody, you shouted out and let us know that you're in here. Shout out to Cody and Caudill's Lawn Service and Snow Removal. Like I said, if you're trying to get your lawn and all those things together for the summer, Cody is your guy. Like I said, make sure you check him out. Tell him Knockouts and 3 Count said yeah. What are you guys thinking as we go into Double or Nothing? Another thing to talk about off of AEW Dynamite last night, man, is you had Wardlow coming out and taking the 10 lashings from MJF. This dude has got like some like obsession with like whipping people. Like, I mean, I've heard his mother on Busted Open with our friend who happens to be a past guest of this show. And man, every time it's like that's like the rite of passage to be able to get a match with this guy if he really doesn't want to fucking fight you. So I mean, dude, what is it with this dude in the 10 lashes? And what are your thoughts on MJF versus Wardlow? What up, though, Donald? We had to talk a little bit about that ICW No Holds Barred, man, because son of a bitch, Tommy Vendetta and Akira did their thing, huh?
Yeah, dude. So the MJF Wardlow thing, first of all, that's probably, I lied. That's probably one of the better matches I'm looking forward to. Wardlow looks like a fucking star, dude. I'll tell you that. And I don't know if that was a gimmick belt or whatever the case was. Probably not. But dude was taking
gimmick belt. Look at his back.
I'm like flinching myself. I'm like, oh shit. Dude is just standing there laughing. Like, bro, there's nothing, like no reaction. But dude, what I liked about that, when they brought him out and he had the handcuffs on and shit, the way they like brought him in. One thing I have to tell you right now, I don't like Goldberg, but that was like very Goldberg-esque type shit. You know what I mean? Like,
I just had to throw that out there. Fuck Goldberg, but
yeah, I'm gonna say it all the time. Fuck Goldberg. But dude, how cool was that? Like, that was the shit. I was like really interested in that. And then he took the belt a few times. Sean Spears was fucking great in that also. And then gets kicked in the nuts. That's the only thing I guess could have dropped him. But dude, that dude's gonna be
to drop you down to size.
Yeah, that dude, look out for that guy because he's gonna be a damn megastar. Give him like 5 years max, dude. That guy is gonna be. You're never gonna not hear about Wardlow. That dude's gonna be up there in that company, dude.
I can't argue that, dude. Like I said, I mean, I think the way they've built Wardlow and the way to bring him in every week and, just make him look like a killer like that. And for him to just eat those lashes, like you said, definitely one of the matches I'm most looking forward to. Speaking of good matches, since we were talking about CM Punk and all that, Hangman Page, threw out some shots at CM Punk with that go to sleep that he hit Takesha with. What were your thoughts on Hangman versus his Japanese counterpart on AEW Dynamite? I thought quite the banger of a match, but definitely shots at CM Punk.
Yeah, no, it was. That was a hell of a match. That whole match was good, man. But yeah, with the finisher thing, like that's honestly, it's doing it for me because before all that, at the beginning of it, there wasn't a rivalry, just like rankings, right? Like CM Punk's next in line, but there really was nothing personal there. Now that it's getting there, we're using each other's finishes, we're on commentary, we're getting involved a little more. You're reeling me in a little bit. So I like to see that shit. That's old school wrestling too. Steal the guy's finisher, make it look better type shit. Like I can do this too. You know what I mean? So now we're getting a little bit. You're getting me to hate one of the guys because I don't really dislike Hangman. I don't hate CM Punk. You know what I mean? Like, so get me to sway a little
You're
bit.
saying you think that Hangman's the one you're against in this one, man.
Yeah, I got it.
They want him to be the big baby face, and J-Bone says,
only reason being is because of the comeback. Like I said, I feel like if we don't get it now, it's just wearing off every week. You know, the honeymoon's over with the CM Punk thing. So we better get it out of the way, man. He's not gonna have it long. And if anything, I think Hangman may even get it back from him at the following pay-per-view. But
no way he's losing the belt that quick. But I mean,
never know, man. Never know. AEW is doing things a little different, and when it comes to the younger talent, the superior talent, as they say, why not? Punk ain't no spring chicken.
From everything
I've watched, for one pay-per-view,
that's one thing they've definitely done is invested in their younger talent that they feel is their future as long as they stick with the company. They've done a great job of that, in my opinion. So.
I can't argue that, and that leads into another point we've got. Like I said, there's also some other news things to jump to on the thing, but can we talk about what happened with the Blackpool Combat Club and Sting and Darby or not Sting and Darby, the Blackpool Combat Club, Eddie Kingston, and Santana Ortiz and the Jericho Appreciation Society?
You were texting me during that segment, dude. I was like, is this not slightly uncomfortable? Like, what the hell, man?
Like, it went from like super badass to like, I'm like, what the fuck is Regal talking about?
What the hell? Yeah. I mean, dude, anything.
I mean, it was like old school, but like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. The match itself, sure, but like, I could have done with like the pissing in the tea reference. I thought that was good because of the callback to what happened in WWE. Right. But like Regal talking about he's sticking people's toothbrushes up his ass. Like what the fuck?
That's what I was like. Okay, let's end this.
Like really? I mean, that's a thing. We stick people's toothbrushes up our ass now. That's what we're doing.
I wonder if that's a TV thing or if that was like a real thing back when or even now.
I mean, dude, I mean, you hear of people shitting in people's bags.
True, man. Ugh, a rib is a rib, I guess, but Jesus.
What were your thoughts on the overall thing and how do you feel about that match? Is that something that you want to see? If you guys are watching in the comments, how do you feel about this match going into Double or Nothing?
Yeah, I think that's gonna be awesome. The match itself is gonna be awesome. That's gonna be very chaotic.
Not the toothbrush part.
I hope there's no toothbrushes involved or piss or tea or anything like that. But
the fact that Eddie Kingston had a toothbrush in his fucking
mouth. I was gonna say that. Why did he bring the toothbrush out?
He had one of them the shareable toothbrushes in his mouth.
Oh my god!
And then when he started talking, I'm like, what the fuck?
Eddie Kingston, bro. What are you gonna do? No, that match
Speaking
is gonna be
good. Did you hear Eddie Kingston's getting ready to go to war with Isaiah Bronner?
I did.
That's gonna be a hell of a match
too.
Where's that taking place at?
For AIW, I don't know. Is that Donald might be able to tell me better on the place? I want to say it's AIW in Cleveland, but I mean, we just saw him go to war with Suzuki. Now he's getting ready to go to war with Eddie Kingston. That. I mean, Isaiah Bronner is definitely making some moves out here.
Yeah, definitely. I follow him on Twitter, and he's constantly grinding. Yeah, that's one thing for sure.
Kyle, who's the guy? Who's the guy? I can't think of his name now. He's in the Jericho Appreciation thing. He's the guy. He's always chewing the gum. I can't think of his name right now. He had the like leather jacket on to the left.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, he was to the right of Jericho. I can't think of his damn name right now, but that guy is fucking hilarious.
He just reminds me of like the guy that you fight in like career mode on 2K that like is like the guy that you have to like fight on the way up that's like jealous because you made it to the big show and they didn't.
Generic,
Dude, he chooses
wrestler.
gum. He like
no,
sits
he's
there
funny
and
as shit though, but
big
like
eyes, big old eyes, and he's just chewing his gum, and he's like one guy will be Jericho's making a point in his little promo, and he'll step in like, yeah, you like that? You know, it's like, bro, first of all, I hate you. Second of all, you really make me hate you. So that's pretty cool. You know what I mean? Like, I can't think of his name right now, but I'm watching a little bit of it right now. Yeah. That guy, the way he chews his gum really bothers me though.
You know what else I think is going to be badass at Double or Nothing that I'm really looking forward to off of Dynamite is the tag team with Swerve and Keith Lee, bro. Like, I love that team together. Yeah. And the triple threat match for the tag, is it for the tag title? So it's going to be Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus versus Swerve and Keith Lee versus who's the third team? The third team is Starks and Hobbs.
Yeah, yep.
In a triple threat match, that's going to be a banger. Yeah. That's going to be a banger.
A lot of wild matches for Sunday, man. It's going to be a lot of chaos at Double or Nothing. I'm looking forward to
good way to spend our Memorial Day and not having to worry about the bipolar weather in Michigan. Although it seems as though like the weather has finally seemed to change over. Although before we came on here, I was watching the beginning of this Boston-Miami game. It'd be dope to be in Miami right now, but that's another story for another time. But I mean, beggars can't be choosers when I'm headed to Vegas. I don't know, man. That's let's go Heat. Fuck that. I want Boston to win.
Nah, Boston looks like the most complete team, but they stutter stepped a bit. And since they beat Brooklyn, they've stutter stepped a good bit. And coming into the series with the Heat's now looking like the most complete team in my opinion. Maybe Golden State's looking pretty damn good too, but let's go Heat is where I'm at on this one.
What a traitor bastard. What a traitor bastard.
No, sad.
I ain't got no.
Man,
my Pistons.
This man was hyping Boston up like it wasn't nobody's business, and now he's on that Heat.
My Pistons ain't in the playoffs. I can bounce all over the place. Memphis got fucking deleted because fucking
delete. They got in a fight with Matt Hardy.
Yeah, no, Morant got fucked up. He got slapped in the knee and just said, "I'm done. I can't play basketball no more for the series." And it's like, all right, well, you're basically the whole team. So without that, like, what are we gonna do? But you know,
I don't know, man. I'm still riding with Boston right now. That's
Kyle.
Go ahead.
So the finals of the Owen Hart tournament is at the pay-per-view, correct?
Look at you, son of a bitch! Now
I can't get off the tournament.
I'm pretty sure
the finals are at Double or Nothing. Which, speaking of which, we can't get out of here without talking about the Joker. John Morrison, Johnny Elite, Johnny Mundo, Johnny Impact, Johnny insert
location.
Yeah, Johnny Morrison has now become, I don't know if it's like a full-time thing, but if nothing else, he showed up to face Samoa Joe in the Owen Hart tournament as the Joker, which I thought that was dope. Now, I thought he was definitely a lot more hype than damn, I'm drawing a blank on the girl's name and the female Joker that faced Britt Baker. But dude, John Morrison definitely would be a good fit over there in AEW. I mean, John Morrison's really a good fit. Doesn't matter where he's at. So, I mean, if he's going to go over to AEW and they're actually going to use him, good shit. I don't know if he's going to go over there full time or maybe he goes there, does that, then goes to Impact where Ty is at. I mean, what were your thoughts on Johnny Impact coming in, or Johnny Elite, as he may now be called?
Hey, I love the pop, dude, because like honestly, I don't think anybody expected it, and that's good business right there. When you can get something completely unexpected, especially this day and age with social media and Twitter and fucking everybody knows the dirt sheets, everybody knows everything. You can actually legit get the crowd to pop for you for a comeback like that or whatever it is, a debut. Fucking thumbs up, dude. Especially for him. Like I said it on Twitter to you, Kyle, dude, that guy deserves to be somewhere where he can be marketable and seen, because that dude never has he had bad wrestling ever. That dude is class A wrestling, dude. So the fact that he got his spot there, I am reading though that he didn't sign a deal, but the door is open for him to come back anytime he wants. So is he a free agent right now, or is he? I thought he was with Impact.
I haven't seen him return to Impact yet, unless I'm mistaken. I haven't seen him return yet. That's why I said I wondered if maybe he came in to AEW for this and then maybe went to Impact since his wife is over there. But as far as I know, no, he hasn't gone in there. I mean, all in all, man, good matches there, because also Phoenix and Kyle O'Reilly had a fucking banger.
That was, yeah, probably the match of the night.
Dude, that was awesome. It was a fucking match, dude.
Good for Phoenix too, because coming off that injury, you always wonder how's he gonna be. And that dude was 100, dude. 100 just looked great out there. Him and Kyle O'Reilly. What a match that was. So that
and I talk about it all the time. Finals, his submissions were dope too. Yeah,
that could potentially be the final. It could be because Adam Cole is in the finals, right? Correct. And then you got Samoa Joe versus Kyle O'Reilly next.
Yep.
And then the finals will be at Double or Nothing. So we could potentially see an undisputed elite face-off type gig.
I don't know that we're going to see that, but it's definitely an option for what we can see going into Double or Nothing. All right, dude, there's a couple other things that we got to talk about in the wrestling end of things. As a lot of people heard on Monday, we didn't get to talk about it on Tuesday because we were joined by deathmatch icon Masada, which if you didn't get to check that out, make sure you check that out and hit that subscribe button and all those good things. But with that being said, it was said that on Monday Night Raw, going into the night, it was supposed to be Sasha and Naomi in the main event of Raw, and they went in and told Johnny Ace, "Take your titles, I'm going the fuck home." So, what were your thoughts on what happened with Naomi and Sasha? Do you think it's a work? Do you think it's something that they'll work into a story, or do you think it's, do you think it's real and they're going to try to make something out of it? Because I don't know, man.
Before you get to your heartfelt answer, J-Bone, because you'll know a lot better than this, I want to pose the question: how unprecedented is this, guys? Like, it's a casual. Has this particular thing happened before?
Stone Cold did it. Yeah, that's the famous. Took his ball and went home. He didn't think he should lose to Brock Lesnar in the King of the Ring.
I want to say Tommy Dreamer did it at one point. I don't think
Stone Cold was the most famous one, man. Because boy, he told them at the 11th hour, "I'm not losing to Brock Lesnar like that with no build." And they ended up having to meet in the famous high rise in the hotel. And Stone Cold says it's one of his biggest regrets in wrestling. Yeah. So it has happened.
It's definitely. It's happened, but this one shoot or real or whatever it is, it's not good for anybody, if you ask me. I mean, on one hand, if you're obsessed with like the whole behind the scenes stuff and the creative issues and stuff like that, people love to dig into that shit. But we know nothing right now. Right now, it's still all speculation. But if Sasha was frustrated or Naomi was frustrated, you still don't walk out during a show, dude. Like, or whatever it was, wherever day of, I don't care. You're contractually obligated to do your job as a performer, right? Now, if you're frustrated, I get it. Have a conversation. Say, I'm not comfortable doing this. Somebody should meet you in the middle somewhere in that. But for you to walk out on the show, that's kind of shitty, man. But on the other hand, it's weird to me that they're putting statements out about it, because
not only statements, right? Man, if it were something that wasn't like, if it were something that wasn't like, Jimmy was talking about it on his show today, which, shout out to past guests of the show, Jimmy Smith, the front man of Monday Night Raw. But, here's the thing though. He goes, even if it does get worked into a story, I mean, he goes, at least for what was supposed to happen, he goes, at least some of that was real because he goes, I have the other rundown where they were supposed to be in the main event. Now it's being reported that they said they felt uncomfortable with a couple of the participants that were in the match. I don't know, man. It's
in the match. It was Becky, Asuka, Nikki ASH,
Asuka, Nikki ASH, and Doudrop. And I'm not sure. I mean,
they've both been in the ring with Becky and Asuka multiple times.
Well, and that was what everybody was talking about, is all the other people that were in the match were matches that had already, taken place or at least in some incarnation that they had been in the ring. So it's crazy to think because, they just got the run as champion. And, not only that, I mean, for somebody like Naomi, that was, probably a big jump for her to be up there with Sasha Banks. But I mean, again, then you got to wonder again, is that like, they promised them, because from what we're hearing, and again, this is all speculation. I don't know any more than you guys do. I just know from what I've been reading. And, you're hearing people say that they said they wanted to make the tag title serious. And, if people aren't delivering on, what was supposed to happen, who knows, man? But it's interesting to say the least, being the fact that you've got all this talk with the unification of the tag titles on the men's side. And then now, the women's tag champs, they dropped the belt and you don't really know which way they're going to go with that next. I mean, how do you see us getting out of this? Where do you see it going? Do you think they come back? Do you think it's something they just try to blow over and act like it didn't happen? Because I mean, I feel like you can at this point, because the thing that was crazy,
it's already been addressed, so you can't really.
Well, not only been addressed, like they addressed it on the air. Like Graves straight up said it was unprofessional on the air.
Right.
Yeah,
and that's what makes me think it could be a work, because you don't.
You really think
that's why I said we don't know.
You guys really think it could be? Because I genuinely feel as though like the company wouldn't backhand themselves. I feel like. And then, like, for the athletes, it's like you either come out and make a stance immediately, publicly, stating your true issue. Like, they have huge social media followings. They could post on there and say, hey, this was my issue. This is what happened. This is my side of the story, essentially.
Right.
And that hasn't been the case to my knowledge, right? Like, they haven't, neither once came out publicly and said anything. So it's like, at this point, the only thing to kind of follow is the fact that they even released like a public statement, to your point, brought it up on the broadcast of like, we were not expecting this. I mean, I highly doubt that they would just go turn the corner next week and be like, oh yeah, it was all a joke, and yeah, they were actually, like, I don't think that would be.
I don't think like something like that, but what I'm saying is I don't know. I also don't think that it's going to be something where they're going to get rid of a Naomi and Sasha Banks.
You think? I can't see them getting rid of Naomi, because I feel like she's got a long way to go and she's got family ties and she's going to be a star, dude. But I could see them getting rid of Sasha. I really could.
You think they let her go with the chance of her going to AEW?
Yeah, with her history of her frustrations, it's been.
I'm not saying she wouldn't leave,
dude.
I'm just saying, do you think that they would let it happen?
They did it with arguably one of the best stars of our time, Bray Wyatt. If that's still a thing, he's gone. Braun Strowman, red hot in WWE, dude. And look at the guy. That's Vince's prototype of a superstar.
But are they on the same level as Sasha, though? Because think about what we were just talking about a few episodes ago. We were talking about the fact that largely she is considered the number 2 next to Charlotte Flair.
But why has she never won at WrestleMania?
I'm not arguing that. I'm not saying she shouldn't. I'm just saying, do you think with the value that obviously they see in her and the fans see in her, do you really think that they'd let her go?
I don't think Vince cares at this point. This is the wheels is going to keep
really,
on
because I mean, she was just on Mandalorian and shit. That'd be a hell of a time to let her go somewhere else where she's got all that clout. Because it's not like they're going to just take her ass off of Disney Plus.
Right.
No, I think it may be a couple weeks or whatever the case be. They probably will not return as champion, but I think they will return nonetheless. It'll just be some type of creative difference, and then the story will play into a different route. But I think
on the other hand, though,
creative differences.
let's say she comes to your company, like, yeah, you want her for the the stardom and the pop and everything and the huge deal for her to sign there, but like, who's to say it doesn't happen again? Are you not doing it the right way? Or I'm frustrated. Bye. You know what I mean? Like, the whole thing works out really bad for everybody. You know what I mean? So it sucks, but I just hope. I feel like Naomi still has a chance, just because she hasn't had history of this kind of thing, and she's still got a ways to go. I mean, Sasha's been with the company how long? Like 8 years, 10 years, or something like that. I don't really know.
She's been with the company a long time, and like I said, with how her standing is in the company, I really don't see either one of them going anywhere. But still, for me, until I see like a full statement, even though they did come out with what they said on like WWE.com and on their Twitter and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but
like, we haven't seen any like real, like, concrete anything laid down. So for me, I still want to see it. Although, even if it's not 100% a shoot, there was definitely some realism to it. Like, there was definitely some reality to what happened. I mean, I think there's definitely some frustration there. How much, who knows? But I mean, like I said, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Let us know in the comments what you think. If you think that they're going to end up somewhere else, show back up in WWE. We'll have to talk about what we think with that. Speaking of where somebody might show up and stepping back into the ring, do you want to see Ric Flair get back in the ring?
No, man, let it go. It's over. Yeah, dude. Look, that dude. Think about what he's done outside of the ring, right? Ever since his retirement, quote unquote, the first retire. I don't know how many times he's fucking retired now, but dude, the guy's so popular and everything.
You heard him in that WCW promo. I'll never retire.
Yeah, it's just like, but when are you gonna stop? Whoever is giving him any type of like, yeah, go ahead, Rick. Like, who's that guy? Because that guy needs
blowing
to be
the wind in those sails.
Yeah, dude. Because how old is he now? I don't even know what his actual age is. 100 and something, 147.
Damn, guy. He just tacked a few 30 years on the Nates. Like, come on, man.
I don't know.
Come on, man.
Somebody's got to look out for his best interest, dude, because one bad move on that guy's head or neck or whatever the case is, it's not a good
I don't even think that's the case, right? It's like,
you really want to see him get in the ring again, Cody?
Woo! No. For me, no, I don't. I know you're talking Cody, but no, I don't. And to me, it boils down to these fighters that have been fighting for too long, because I always boil it back to where, my butter is. And why ruin this legacy that you built up? Like, it's such a rarity, right? That we've brought it up multiple times on the show about like how well Sting does and stuff like that still.
Yeah.
And it's such a rarity for somebody of that age to still be able to perform at a, entertainment level quality, and to come out of retirement again. No, he does great when he comes in, talks some shit, gets the crowd hyped up, even when he gives his little, lame-ish speeches, like he does a great job there. Keep doing that. I understand you want the love of the fans and stuff like that, and I can understand making appearances, but appearances and matches are two different things entirely.
Yeah, dude. Like, go get a Vegas residency or something. You know what I mean? Like, you could be one of the only wrestlers that has ever done something like that. Like, go break new barriers down out there. But like, the physicality part, like, who's gonna wrestle him, dude? Do you want to be the guy that's like, hey, we're gonna give you 76-year-old Ric Flair, dude? I know it's gonna be great because he's a legend and you've always wanted this to happen. But if you drop him on his head, the dude is good as done. You know what I mean? Like, you want to be responsible for that? I don't. You know, and then like Kyle, to your point, you were saying that earlier, you can't put him in with one of the other legends. You can't put him in with Steamboat or Hogan.
I mean, Steamboat was what was talked about. I mean, they threw out the invitation to Steamboat. Now, I mean, here's the thing though. I mean, what are you going to do if you put him in there with like some real young cat? Like, it's going to be one of those things where it's like, is it? Then I feel like you get into the question of like, is it believable? Which then begs the question of, do we really need to see him back in the ring? I love Ric Flair, dude. Cody, Ricky Steamboat already said that he won't do it. Like Ricky Steamboat already said that he doesn't want
You
to.
see this little guy right here? That's how I want to remember him. I know this was all the way back in '92.
Ooh.
I don't want to see this guy in a wheelchair.
With a tear in my eye.
I don't want to see that guy.
This is the greatest moment in my life.
And imagine if something bad happens. Like, you just, God forbid, but like, you just don't want that risk.
I'm not arguing that, dude. Like, I don't know that I want to see it. I mean, don't get me wrong, dude. I never have a problem with seeing Ric Flair walk down to the ring. I never have a problem with seeing Ric Flair get in the ring and woo his ass off. But I just don't know that I need to see another match. Like, quite honestly, bro, I would have been completely fine if we wouldn't have seen Ric Flair again after the match with HBK in 2008 at WrestleMania. I mean, the thank you, I love you, super kick, boom, bam, bam, thank you, ma'am. That was like the perfect way for him to go out. And I don't know that
as a fan, I totally accepted it. Like, I accepted the fact that he was done.
Spitting, I was okay with who beat him. I was okay with the way he went out.
Where it happened, everything fit perfect. And then what happens? He shows up on TNA.
I spent more money on spilt liquor than you made.
Dude, I'm telling you, this guy, could he not do like a resident? How do you fucking say the word? Residency in Vegas? He could.
He could.
Oh, dude, if you had like
a night at a certain location every, Ric Flair night or something.
Yeah, dude. I don't know, twice a month. Him just on stage. He makes his big entrance to the stage. He's telling war stories and bar stories.
Dude, why couldn't you have like a Wale Mania type thing, but with like Ric Flair? Call it like Ric Flair Woo Nation and have a party every night and have him bring through like one of his celebrity friends and just it'd be a big party. But then again, I don't know that that's the best thing for Ric Flair, who we all knew had problems with drinking and all that stuff. So maybe that's not a good idea. I don't want to contribute to Ric Flair doing anything he shouldn't. Like I said, I don't know how I feel about him getting back in the ring. I'm always up for seeing him run his mouth on a microphone, but again, let's not forget Ric Flair is also in his 70s as well. So I don't know how I feel about that. And
there's other ways to get people's fan base,
right?
There's other
and
ways to do it.
Stephanie McMahon stepping away from WWE, or at least so it said. Now there was a tweet that she put out earlier saying effective tomorrow, she's stepping away from the majority of her duties at WWE, but that she would return for that. She believes WWE is part of her legacy. I don't think this is anything like her saying she's leaving the company personally. I mean, we all know that Triple H had his issues with his heart and all that stuff earlier. I don't know if this is anything that's like pertaining to that, but I mean, unless there's anything that you guys have seen that maybe I haven't, so far, all I've seen is that she's stepping away because she wants to take time for her family, which at the end of the day, dude, let's face it, it is what it is. They're characters. You see them on TV, but like we all heard what happened with Triple H and his heart and all that stuff. So for me, I don't see anything wrong here. I don't think it's anything that would be to be worried about. I don't think it means that there's any issues with like her and WWE, like you see all the AEW, all elite memes with Stephanie McMahon, but I don't think that that's the way we're going.
No,
it definitely doesn't seem that way from an outside perspective. I've seen the tweets and stuff you're talking about. And in my opinion, it just seems like a professional, like, hey, I need to step away. We've put on, 4 events a week or, whatever the actual number is, but it's in that area, 3 events a week for X many years, and I've been just grinding this stone for how many years
while being a mom,
right? Yeah, while trying to be a family person. Yeah, I can completely understand that.
And that could be just it. She's got a family at home, like you said. Maybe she just wants to take some time and sit at home and do nothing for once, hang out with her kids. She got a couple of young girls, so it's like I don't think that's just the internet putting things on there that the internet's a toxic place, dude, especially Twitter. We've all said this before. She ain't going nowhere.
You're not wrong. I don't think there's any issues in the coop. Like, a lot of people want to throw stuff around because of all the stuff with Nick Khan, but in this situation, I really don't think that that's the case. I don't think that that's like any case.
It is exactly what we're seeing.
It's not like what we saw with Shane, and even at that, Shane was at WrestleMania and all those things as well. So
Sometimes
think
it
it's
is
like
that on
any.
the surface. You know what I mean? It's not always a backstory behind everything,
I'm with you, bro. I don't think that there's a backstory behind everything. But before we get to picks for UFC and all those things and backstories and all those things, Corey, what do you got in the corner today? Any skeletons coming out of it?
No, I'm
You need to get him a jingle.
Spitting, blazing hot fire. I come in spitting hot fire. No. Honestly, this one's going to be fairly tame. Eagle FC coming Friday. I know Kyle was going to mention a couple things further on in the show about it, but I just wanted to be upfront with that. I feel as though they're doing great work now that they've made their way over to the U.S. We'll talk more about matchups and stuff later, but I definitely feel as though for a free event that all you have to do is download their app and do the whole email password thing. It's genuinely worth watching. Every event that they put on has been high production level, and with it being a free app and stuff like that, they do a really good job. I haven't had it like glitch out or anything like that. Knock on glass, but hopefully it stays that way. But beyond Eagle FC, second point, I talk about them all the time on here, and huge investment making its way down to PFL. Comes in the way of a $500 million investment, supposedly, by one Aaron Rodriguez. For anybody who, watched baseball like we all did as kids, Aaron Rodriguez stepping up big with $500
Aaron Rodriguez or Alex Rodriguez?
Alex Rodriguez. I don't know why I said Aaron.
I was like, who the fuck is Aaron Rodriguez? I was like, we're talking
Different
baseball.
player.
I'm like,
different
Corey,
player.
come on, man. You wear a different baseball cap every week. Come on, man.
And I haven't followed it for years because baseball has lost my heart, unfortunately, to basketball. But that being said,
but damn it, you know who A-Rod is.
Yeah, everybody knows who A-Rod is, and for him to make a huge investment,
he's a lucky bastard.
Yeah,
sorry.
For him to make a huge investment must show that PFL is doing a really good job of luring in these celebrity investments. Like they already had Wiz Khalifa involved. He's actively like on each one of their broadcasts with their opening song and stuff like that. So it's interesting to see the moves that PFL makes. While also on that topic, they kind of went further in detail on how they're going to do their pay-per-view series. And apparently it's going to be a 50-50 revenue split with the athletes that are competing on the night.
But do you really think that they're going to sell any pay-per-views? And I'm not saying that to be an asshole, but I'm saying seriously, when you look at the viewership numbers, like, do you really think people are going to buy that on pay-per-view?
It depends. It truly depends on like what matchups they're able to make and how much market share they're able to generate with it. I feel as though ESPN, who is going to be in charge of the pay-per-views, they're going to be ran through ESPN because they're broadcasted on ESPN. They've done an amazing job with the UFC pay-per-views. Granted, there's built-in interest. A lot of the buys are generated because it's just hardcore viewership and stuff. But you do see, like on my Roku TV, when it's just sitting at a dull screen, it'll show the upcoming pay-per-view because ESPN's doing their as best as they can to, broadcast that.
We appreciate them reactions. Keep them coming.
And so, no, I don't think it's going to sell a ton unless they find some big matchups that actually garner the attention that is worthy of a pay-per-view, or if they go like maybe the BKFC Triller route where their events are only $15. Yeah, I could see a lot of people buying a $20 event or something like that. That's a lot more feasible than, $75 out of pocket, $80 after taxes. It's like, get out of here with that shit. But
not to cut in on your time, but like, how feasible do you think it is that you might see like, I mean, this is something I've talked about a lot with PFL. I like the structure. I like the idea of what they're doing. I think they have a lot of young talent in there, but I mean, obviously we've seen they haven't gotten necessarily. We talked about the return on investment, that AEW got from CM Punk. It's no secret that the return on investment with the list of big names that they brought in this last year didn't do it as much. Do you think but what I was going to ask though is now that they're going this pay-per-view route, do you like, I almost feel like PFL's best route in order for them to make any real headway in a pay-per-view market would have to be one of those where they'd have to collaborate with like another promotion and make like another, make like super fights. Like I could be wrong, and I'm just posing this because it's something you brought up, but I mean, to me, that's like short of that or like Kayla Harrison run through a tournament or something. I mean, I don't really see what else is going to sell a pay-per-view for them.
Yeah, with their current roster that they have, even the more celebrity fighters, the Rory McDonalds, the Showtimes, the Jeremy Stevens, and stuff like that. That's not a pay-per-view quality.
And I'm fans
card.
of all these people. Like, don't mistake what I'm saying. But to buy a pay-per-view. I'm just saying for those that are listening, like I'm not saying this to shit on any of those names. I'm just saying when you're talking about such a crowded pay-per-view market, like the UFC, and you've got WWE's got Peacock where you can just, pay $9.99 and you get to see them all. Or like you mentioned, BKFC, you pay your $4.99 a month for the app and you get to see all the fights. So that way, either like, honestly, I feel like that's the route that we're going to end up seeing shit go, but that's just me.
I hope, because I'm more okay with spending $5 a month, even if it adds up to $200 at the end of the year, than spending $80 every other month on fights.
You're not fucking kidding.
But that being said, to get back to where I was going with all that, I feel as though with a lot of the names that are kind of being presented in the market, and we'll get more to that later with the Eagle FC, because I feel as though they deal with the same issue. You'll have to make big moves, right? You would have to get, like, as soon as Cyborg is available, you got to make the Cyborg Kayla Harrison fight on the pay-per-view. You got to get Nate Diaz, once he's released. As soon as that contract's up, before you get him fighting Logan Paul, you got to get him on your pay-per-view. Fighting Showtime or some shit. Like people would garner interest in something like that. And I feel as though there is enough rumblings in the market, but the UFC's just got such a foothold on every, star level athlete that it is going to be hard to sell pay-per-views. I brought up that point more so to say, praise PFL for at least doing the right thing where their best chance to bring in big athletes to participate on these pay-per-view events that they want to put on is to give them a huge revenue share of what they're actually able to sell. So kudos to them basically for actually
for sure. And I didn't mean that to sound shitty. I just mean in a crowded market like it is, and knowing that the UFC is the overwhelming king and what we've seen so far, I'm just posing the question.
How much would you guys pay for a PFL pay-per-view right now? Right.
If you give me the $1 million
like
night,
$25,
the $6 million night or something, it would hurt. It hurt my feelings if I had to spend more than $20 on it.
Yeah.
Like if it was $30,
20,
I'd be like, man, 25 even. I'm like, man, come on, dude. Like, you got to get that extra $5, man. Come on, right. You need viewers.
You got to cover the taxes, bro. Come on.
Yeah, I know, but no, $20 is where I'm like. That's my line.
Cody says PFL should be 20.
I'd say $20 is fair, definitely.
But
dude, again, I'm not saying that they're bad talent. It just
no. And one thing, because I know you were dealing with the whole issue last time we were able to do Corey's Corner, and I was breaking down PFL with the last event. Showtime, #1 in the leaderboards for lightweight. Rory McDonald, #1 for 70. Jeremy Stevens put on a truly noteworthy fight of the year contender, even though he lost. Clay Collard's at the top of the division. A lot of their star people are at the top this year. So even though they weren't successful in their first year, turning into the next year, it looks like a lot of their top tier talent is at least taking the season format a lot more serious. But last point before we close this corner out real quick. I got a true interjection on why I love the game and also why fighting hurts to watch sometimes this last Saturday with the event that took place at the Apex. I know we weren't going to do a huge breakdown of it, so I want to just discuss this point. Shout out freaking Michael Johnson going back in there, getting the knockout, first finish win in too damn long, first win in too damn long. And for him in particular, he's looked so great in all of these losses. Like he showed that like the menace, you know, he lived up to his nickname in a lot of those fights, and then something would bite him, you know, and he'd lose it in the third round after putting on just a dominant performance. So shout out him for actually turning it around. But then I immediately in the main event, just a couple fights later, got the smack in the face of the game where it's like, I wasn't a huge Rakic fan. I actually picked Jan to win. But the reason why I love fighting so much is because you see truly what these guys put into it week in, week out. And they're not able to perform but maybe once, twice a year. You know, some athletes get in there luckily 3, 4, 5 times even, but for the most part, it seems to be like 2 fights a year for the, you know, higher tier talent. And to work so hard to get to a title eliminator for Rakic, and then to just have your knee go out after, in my opinion, winning the first 2 rounds, looking really good. And other than the fact that, yeah, he had some bruises up to that point, I felt as though he was hitting his gear and was about to start to take the fight really into his hands. It seemed like the momentum was leaning in his direction. And to just watch his knee just give out on him, it's like so much work has been put in to get to that point, and something simple as stepping back the wrong way and your knee just not saying, you know, today's enough. And it's just such a smack in the face. It's like, okay, you see one of your favorite fighters get that dub, finally get it back, happy as shit, and then to turn that into the pain. It's just the fight game, you know?
Yeah, that's the fight game, bro. But God, the visual of the knee just popping, you could just see it. That was horrible.
I had to turn away. I watched it like 3 times, and I'm like, all right, I seen it. I'm good.
Yeah, it's horrible. It sucks.
Yeah, man. I made it home in time to be able to watch that after Control Your Narrative on Saturday. And like I said, prayers for a speedy recovery for Rakic. But then again, I also feel like you can't take anything away from Jan on that one either, though. Because, like you said, you know, you say bruising on his leg, but let me tell you from experience, like if he kicked him enough to leave marks like that on that man's leg, he fucked his leg up a little bit. Like, you don't just bruise somebody's leg like that if you ain't chopping at his leg. And it's not like Jan didn't hit shots. Now, do I think Rakic was like out of that fight, especially with the way his knee was? No, but it's definitely a crappy way to see him go out. But then again, with that being said, I mean, how do you not say with Jan getting the win, whether it be by, you know, straight up or not, how do you say that he's not like the one to get that next title shot? I mean, Glover basically already called him out.
Because in my opinion, if he would have got the win, if he would have knocked him out, or if he'd even just went 5
but he did get the win, though.
He got gifted a win, in my opinion. I think if you look back at the action,
that's fair, but I don't think that's fair towards Jan, though.
If you look back at the action, though, Jan hadn't landed a strike on that leg in well over like 2 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. So it wasn't something that was caused from an action of Jan. It was literally a malfunction, basically, of Rakic's body, essentially. So you can't, in my eyes, you can't be like, oh, he was clearly
and I'm not saying that it was all from Jan, but what I'm saying is like shit happens in a fight.
You can't jump from a fight like that when you just lost your belt in fairly.
He was ranked number 1 though.
Yeah, but that's because UFC rankings are terrible and they want to keep former champs at number 1.
Okay, so who? But who?
That's not.
But
my
who
fault.
else should be there though?
You got Anthony Smith in
right, but they still got to fight though.
What's his name? That's what I'm saying. Ankalaev. Yeah, there we go.
Right, they still got to fight though. The winner of that fight should get the winner of.
You also got our boy Sweet Dreams. Let me put the tats up here for everybody. Yeah. You also got our boy Sweet Dreams making his way into the top 5.
Making his way up there, but he's not there yet. If we're talking about like the top 3, though,
you think Jan's more deserving after losing his belt, and then he put on a good performance. It's not like he was like clearly losing.
Well, let's not act like we don't got to see what's going to happen with Yuri Prochazka and Glover first, too, though. Because okay, Glover said he wants to fight. Glover said he wants to fight Jan next, but he's got to get through Yuri first. I'm just saying, okay, even if you want to do Jan versus the winner of Anthony Smith whatever, but if you can't say that Jan isn't in the conversation for the next title shot, though, because he's still technically ranked number 1. Number 2, he still won that fight by TKO, whether that was his fault or not. It's still a win.
Technically.
He can't go down. Bro. You can't put him down the line because he won.
Yeah.
No, I don't think you move him down. Other than the fact, to my initial point, he shouldn't have been 1 to begin with because you can't be the
sure. And there's an argument for that, but I'm just saying, based on who right now do I think is the next guy in the seat. We're talking about 3 guys.
Yeah,
basically.
I get the point you're trying to pose here, but I'm saying in my eyes, you can't come to an immediate title rematch after that type of fight,
and that's fair.
And so you're still the number 1 off contender. You know, you're right there. It's not like
sure. Then let him fight the winner of that. Yeah, then let him fight the Lionheart Smith fight. Then.
Yeah, I don't think he takes a step back. It's just basically as though this Rakic fight essentially didn't happen. And in my eyes, when you see injuries like this that are not imposed injuries, I think the fight should be ruled a no contest anyway, because I don't think the injured person should now suffer a loss on their record. But
not when you fought that far into a fight.
Yeah, I was about to say maybe depending on how far we get into the fight.
That's always the rule with that kind of stuff. You can't do that when you fought that far into a fight because it's not. Again, it's not.
Then
like
go to the judges' scorecards if that's the case. Then it's an injury. It wasn't like he literally fell back and the ref said over. It's not like he then got pounded. It's not like there was more damage inflicted. And I'm glad, actually, shout out Jan for not following through and not, trying to hurt somebody while they're down, literally, right. But I understand because I am a Jan fan. I actually have been a fan since what he did to my boy Dominic Reyes. He kind of showed me that, hey, he isn't just like one of these guys at 205. He's actually in this position for a reason. But ever since then, the Izzy fight, he's done great, but that performance isn't enough for a title fight, in my opinion.
No, I'm not. And again, I'm not saying necessarily that he should immediately go to it, but I'm saying you can't not have him in that conversation because at the end of the day, all I'm getting at is whether it was a decisive win for Jan or it's not, he still won the fight. So he can't be out of the conversation is what I'm saying. Like, I'm not arguing with you at all that maybe he should have to fight the win of the Anthony Smith fight. But I also don't think that there's any way that he should be out of the conversation. That's just me personally. But with that being said, since we're already talking about the UFC, obviously we have a UFC card this weekend. Honestly, not a ton of fights that are super exciting to me, except for I feel like the main event and the co-main event's got the possibility for it to be a banger.
Fireworks. We'll just see whether the fuse gets lit. Is what
right.
The co-main.
I think. For me, I feel like the overwhelming, theme for this fight is really this is going to be, if Holly Holm wins this one, she's basically going to be in the driver's seat for another title shot. But I mean, if she gets another title shot, I mean, I don't think it's too far out to say she's 37. I think that, this is probably going to be the last title shot she gets.
I would imagine, especially because she has had so many opportunities.
Granted, being shot.
Yeah, granted being successful in the biggest one of them all against Ronda, but I love this fight for Holly Holm. I think this is a totally winnable fight. If you look at Caitlin Vieira, she's done really good work, but a lot of her stuff is slower. She throws with power, but she throws a little bit slower, and I feel like Holly Holm, even at her age, that's one thing she still hasn't lost is her speed. She's able to get that out there, step back, step in, throw kicks. She's still very active, and I think one thing too is to speak on is that she's coming off of a fairly significant layoff, especially for her career. And every time, she's not one of these people that lies on their morals and just, I know what I know. Every time she's coming off one of these layoffs, she usually comes as a woman on fire in her next fight. And I feel like Holly Holm, this one is a definitely good opportunity for her to your point, earn her way back into the title. And honestly, if this Amanda Nunes Juliana Pena fight plays out again the way the first one did, she could win that title against Pena. I think she could even win it against this newer version of Nunes, honestly, but that would be the tougher fight of the two, in my opinion. But if she takes on Juliana Pena, I'm a fan, but I think that's a definitely winnable fight for her. I really do. I feel like Holly Holm's shown a great wrestling defense throughout her whole career. And who's going to outstrike multiple-time world boxing and kickboxing champion Holly Holm? Like,
dude.
So,
dude, I'm definitely not by any means saying that Holly Holm has any that I don't believe she has a chance to win if she gets back in there in a championship, man. But it's all going to depend on how that fight plays out. Because then again, I mean, even though we can say if the first fight goes like it did with Nunes, we don't know what Nunes is going to look like now either, because Nunes is, starting her own team and doing all this, and and you got to add the Ultimate Fighter into this whole deal too. So I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. As far as Saturday goes, I agree with you. I think Holly Holm has what it takes to get the job done against Caitlin Vieira. If I'm picking, I'm going to go with Holly Holm in this one as well. I don't know that she gets the finish. I think it probably will be a decision most likely, but at the same time though, I don't know. I just think Holly Holm's experience and the fact that I think Holly Holm knows that where she's at in this fight. And I think because she knows that, I think it's going to be a little bit of extra motivation. But I mean, as far as who I'm picking and who I would lay my money on, I probably would go with Holly Holm on this one. Who do you got, J-Bone?
I'm agreeing with you, man. The only thing that concerns me is the layoff. You know what I mean? I think what was Vieira's last fight? I want to say it was against Miesha Tate, right?
Yep.
I'm not mistaken. She won that one by decision.
Yep.
So that was like what? That had to have been last year,
6 months ago, roughly 6 to 8 months.
That's the only thing that concerns me. But dude, Holly Holm, world-class striker, dude. World-class boxer. Yeah. She's got to lean on that. I think it'll get the job done. But like you said, Kai, I think it's going to go all 3 rounds. So,
any interest? Just to pose the question, she's brought it up multiple times that she's kind of leaning towards making an entrance back into boxing in her later stages of career. I mean, obviously, depending on how this fight goes and if she does work her way to the title, that plans change, of course. But any interest in seeing her face of Michaela Meyer, the Clarissa Shields or somebody like that?
I mean,
boxing crap.
I think a fight against her and Clarissa Shields would be damn interesting, being the fact that Clarissa's now, transitioned to MMA. I mean, for Holly to go back into boxing, being that Holly already had the championships and all those things, man, I can't say that I wouldn't think that fight would be interesting. Maybe I might have liked to seen that fight a few years ago, but at the same time, I'm not saying that it's not a fight that wouldn't be interesting. Hey, for everybody that's checking us out on YouTube and all that stuff, make sure you hit that subscribe, Facebook, hit the likes, please share it, all that good stuff. Keep commenting, let us know what you think. If you want to join the conversation, like I said, we ain't scared. I don't know though. I think we're all on the same page with that one. So we're all going with home on that one. Who do you guys got on the co-main event? The co-main event, you got Ponzinibbio versus Pereira.
Yeah. It's like we had kind of built up to it. The fireworks are on the ground, right? It's like the AEW event you went, Kyle. Does the fuse get fucked with and do the fireworks not go off? You know,
does the ring explode?
That's the question. You know,
the death match, the exploding barbed wire death match that didn't go boom.
Yeah. This has the rumblings of something of that ilk, right? Like Ponzinibbio always brings it. He's honestly on a bit of a skid since coming back from his long injury. You can't really blame the dude. He had a bunch of like serious like terminal stuff going on and stuff. So for him to even be on the bright side of it and competing again, shout out Ponzinibbio. But he was somebody who was like 2 and 3 in the division before his layoff. And since then, doesn't look top 5 quality, honestly. And Michel Pereira, he's such a wild cat. And as of late, he started to kind of tame his style so that he doesn't get so gassed later on in the fight, which smart. You gotta improve your fight IQ if you're going to continue to try to compete in the octagon. But that's where the worriness kind of lies. Is Ponzinibbio will try to fight him, but will Michel Pereira kind of, faint the whole fight instead of actually fighting? That's my one concern. But I feel as though this is a great fight for Ponzinibbio to turn that corner and get it back. I feel like Michel Pereira, even in his newer, smarter style, is still
he's
a beatable
because he takes shots.
Yeah, he's still a beatable fighter. So I don't know money on the line on this one. In my opinion, this one is could go either way for sure. I wouldn't be betting on it, but I like the chances at least for Ponzinibbio in this one.
J-Bone, who you got?
Dude, I'm jealous that you know these guys' names so well. I can't even say these names, but
too much fight.
What is it?
Man.
Not the guy you picked, the other guy.
He's Michel Pereira.
Yeah, fuck your pick. I'm picking the other guy.
Hey, well, look, I did my research. He's on a 4-fight win streak, dude. That's got to say something. He's got some momentum. I think the age factor's in his favor, so I'm taking him for the win, dude. Knockout.
Yeah.
Knockout.
DraftKings, that one.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. If Pereira, however the fuck you say it, I can't spit it out today. I'm not the one that has
problems with this.
I don't know why I am, because usually I do okay with that shit because I got used to like saying it from doing jiu-jitsu all those years. But like fucking A. Anyways, I think if he's going to win, it's going to be by knockout. Like for him to win, it's going to be like he's going to catch him in like an exchange or like in some awkward, like a shot that he doesn't see coming or like a spinning wheel kick that he didn't see coming. Like for me, that's how Pereira is winning this one. I think, like you said, Corey, there's a good chance that this could be like a bounce back fight for Ponzinibbio, but I don't know, man. Like, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't there like a little beef with these guys going into this fight too? Weren't they kind of like pushing and shit at the weigh-ins and all that stuff?
I haven't seen anything yet. Well, weigh-ins take place tomorrow, so we'll see then.
Or sure. Like the pre-fight stuff.
I haven't seen anything personally. I wouldn't be surprised though, because both of them. Ponzinibbio works the broadcast booth for the. I forget which nationality he covers. He's Argentinian, but whatever language they speak. And so he's a broadcaster. So he very well could have talked shit about him and in like his native tongue or something like that and felt disgrace. So there very well could be beef, but not to my knowledge.
I could be wrong. I just thought I saw that somewhere. But yeah, as far as a pick though, on this one, I'm gonna go with Michael Pereira. But that being said, I wouldn't be shocked if Ponzinibbio comes in and, you know, rights the ship as well. But if I'm picking one, that's where I'm going. As far as UFC now, before we get off of MMA, I've heard it rumored a few places. We mentioned Eagle FC. You said you're a fan of what you've seen so far as how they're doing their events and that kind of stuff. But my question is, do you think that they're already kind of in danger of the same thing that we hear them talk about with AEW, in that like they're already building so much of the name on the star power of guys who are ex-UFC guys? When you look at like a Rashad Evans, you know, you've got Diego Sanchez, you've got Kevin Lee, you've got all these names who, not saying the guys can't still fight, but I mean, when the big names of that card are already guys who were on their way out on the UFC.
They weren't just like, you know, work their contract out. They're released guys, which is even worse, really. But to your point, it's the struggle of what I had noted in the PFL thing. You know, it's like there's literally 10 or 12
UFC monopolizes the market.
Yeah, they really do, to such an extent. And not only that, their broadcast train of just week in, week out, we have a new fight, new headliner, new co-main, new feature on the prelim, new, you know, hyped up fight. Dana is always posting on his media with 400,000 views about these are the fighters to watch this week, or, you know, like the other promotions just don't have that. They don't. Nobody follows them like that. And unfortunate or not, or whatever the case be, you have to essentially make your name off somebody who's already made their name there. And like I was saying, it's unfortunate that these guys are released guys and not just guys that are like, you know, I worked my contract out, I realize I can make more money elsewhere, you know, hit them with the finger and walk out the door. That's not the case. It's people that are, you know, like Kevin Lee, big fan, you know, fight fan from the 313. I rep freaking Motown Phenom all day. I've posted about him a ton of times.
I mean, I met the guy in Vegas, dude. He couldn't have been a cooler guy. Like, I mean,
yeah,
I'm not saying anything bad. I'm just saying for a promotion that's coming out like that, we talk about this all the time with AEW.
In his circumstance, he genuinely came out hurt. Like, he talked about it, and he came out and said, like, it was bullshit the way that it was all done, da-da-da. I even brought it up on the show, how they did him dirty and all this. And, like, that's unfortunately who you have to make your name off of if you are trying to start up another fight company. And yet again, no disrespect to Motown, but, you know, it is what it is, man. Like, that is the fight game that we currently live in, is unless you're some Jake Paul figure that just has came out of left field and is able to garner a ton of attention, you basically have to have fought in the UFC, worked your way up to the top 5 or the top 10 in a bunch of exciting fights, and then been let go for some reason. And now you're at Eagle FC trying to put on best quality shows you can. You know, that's in these circumstances. Quick point, in these circumstances, when you see this type of stuff, I just hope that the athletes take it seriously. Like I had noted with the PFL in the latter season, when they brought in a bunch of these names and they didn't necessarily live up to expectations, I think it's because they didn't take it super serious, because the UFC banner's no longer attached, you know? So I just hope Dos Santos, you know, all these guys go in there and take it serious. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, shout out to Khabib, because Khabib, you know, speaking of AEW, you know, Khabib is kind of taking a page out of their book with the quote unquote forbidden door, and, you know, what we've seen with AEW with Impact, and now this literal forbidden door show that's going to be here in Chicago. Hey, J-Bone, are we going to drive down and go to that?
What is this?
It's coming up, dude.
It's got to be coming soon, right? Let's see how we fare. Let's see how we fare.
I mean, it's sold out, but we know we can get them on StubHub. But the point I'm making is that you know, AEW, we've seen them partner with other promotions. We heard Khabib say that he was interested in talking to his friend Scott Coker in Bellator about a potential fight between Dos Santos.
Sorry to interject, but they actually already have a Bellator athlete competing this weekend. So it's actually already a thing that is in the works. They have a signed Bellator athlete competing on their card this weekend. I can't think of his name, but it's one of Khabib's cousins or something.
Of course, it's one of Khabib's cousins, but they're talking about having Dos Santos versus Fedor. Now, here's the question. Do you really want to see Dos Santos versus Fedor at this point?
Fedor looked good in his last fight. So if he wants to fight again, that's up to him. We'll see how this Eagle FC event tomorrow plays out for Dos Santos. If Junior looks good and Fedor, in my opinion, looked good in his last fight against Tim Johnson, got the knockout win and everything, I wouldn't be opposed to it. It wouldn't be like I understand why Eagle FC would want to put it on. You get your hands on Fedor as a Russian promotion. Yeah. Of course you want to do that. But as a fight fan, somebody who calls myself a degenerate all the time for all the fights that I end up watching, I would watch. I would definitely tune in. Am I going to hype it up on social? Am I going to feel as though for the next Charles Oliveira fight, I'm going to be more hyped than I would be for that, Yeah.
Maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah, maybe 10 years ago. I mean, that's kind of like the general consensus. I mean, at this point, you know what? I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it just for the sense that it's, that these guys want to fight. We can see, what's going to happen. Now, if you're talking about, am I really excited for the fight? Not really. If I'm being honest, Fedor is great, but like you said, J-Bone, 10 years ago, hell yeah, this fight's dope. But in 2022, it's not a fight that's knocking my socks off when it comes to that kind of stuff. Now, I have two more quick points that I want to talk about before we get out of here. In that we keep hearing Conor McGregor's name come back. Who would you want to see him come back against? I've heard Michael Chandler thrown out there as a name for him to fight. I've heard a couple other names, but to me, that Chandler fight seems like a very interesting fight to me. What do you guys think on Conor McGregor coming back? And do you think that there's any chance that we see him, jump the line and go up to the champ with Oliveira, with the fact that Oliveira's called him out?
I mean, there's definitely always a chance, right? There really is, especially when you're talking about UFC and Conor McGregor. There's literally always a chance. He called out Usman, and I was like, okay, I guess we're going to see that fight in 8 months or whatever. It genuinely is just a thing that Conor McGregor losing streak championship fight is a thing. It just is. Yeah. I wouldn't be super opposed to it, being a Charles Oliveira fan. You got to win your belt back, though, and make sure you get pay-per-view points, because you ain't fighting Conor McGregor without pay-per-view points. Manage your suit on. But popping that back off, honestly, I've noted it a couple weeks ago, and I feel as though the timetables very well may work out as well, because Conor's now kind of talking that he's not going to come back till very, very late in the year or even early next year. Tony fucking Ferguson, Doc. The Tony fight's so winnable for him. It's the way to get yourself back truly to a title fight, in my opinion.
Really? Even after he got knocked the fuck out like that?
Yeah.
I think Chandler's the way to go with that, because at least if he beats Chandler, he's beating somebody that's coming off the win. Chandler's the one that got the knockout, and at least Chandler, you can say, is on the fringe of the top five. If you go in there and beat Tony Ferguson, no disrespect, I love Tony Ferguson as much as the next guy, and I'm glad to hear that he's saying he finally wants to go back with a team. So don't mistake what I'm saying. But if you're telling me, if I'm Conor McGregor, who's the more viable fight, especially being that even though I love Michael Chandler, just like most MMA fans like Michael Chandler, let's face it, dude. Michael Chandler also has a lot of vulnerabilities that somebody like Conor McGregor could actually capitalize on, being the fact that we know that chances are, even though it would be the easiest path to victory for Michael Chandler, we know that if that fight gets put together, they're not going to wrestle.
Yeah.
And if they bang, we know that Conor's more technical than Michael Chandler, but he's got to watch out that he doesn't get caught. But if you're talking about a winnable fight for Conor McGregor to win and be able to say, okay, I beat this guy, and this is why I should be back in the title picture, I think it's much more viable with a fight with Michael Chandler than it is with Tony Ferguson, especially being the way Tony was knocked out. Because on top of that, you also have to take into effect Tony's going to have a long layoff just from the medical commissions just because of the way he got knocked out.
Where I said the timeline, I feel as though lines up. And not only that, I feel as though with Poirier is not being talked about enough. Unless you're going to make this Nate Diaz fight or the rumblings of a potential Colby fight, I feel as though you put Chandler and Poirier together. That's the matchup that makes the most sense, in my opinion. Both of them lost to Oliveira. Other than that, they've looked fairly good in the division. Chandler, I've become a huge fan of Chandler because of his fight style and the entertaining fights that he's been able to put on throughout the promotion. But really, he's only 2-2 in the UFC. He, entertaining or not, he is more of the competitive top 5 guy right now, but that's literally only because he was able to beat Tony Ferguson, who we're just now talking about, and clearly lost the first round, in my opinion, got knocked down and then got elbowed pretty well on the ground, ended up bleeding, came out and said after the fact that he couldn't see out of his eye, and that's the first time it's ever happened in his career. I feel as though Tony did well in that fight. He got knocked out, but if that kick would have landed on anybody, it wasn't like a chinny thing or something like that. So,
right, but I'm just saying for who he would pick to fight coming in. I think Conor knows that Conor isn't going to get too many more chances to play around. In that, if Conor loses again, it's not going to matter how much Conor can talk somebody into the seats anymore. He's not going to be anywhere near a title shot if he doesn't start getting wins. So again, not that I'm saying that Tony Ferguson wouldn't be an entertaining fight to see, or that even that Tony Ferguson isn't even to say that Tony Ferguson isn't a candidate for the fight. I'm not saying that either, but what I'm saying is if I'm Conor and the way UFC, wants to book Conor, with the fact that Chandler's already been flapping his gums and cutting that promo and all that stuff, I just feel like it's like the mix for what they're going to say with that. With that being said, the last thing I wanted to talk about is, where now that we saw this with Gaethje, we heard Khabib say that he doesn't think that Oliveira can be considered as undisputed because of what happened with the weight, and because he's still basically, to the way he said it, sounded like until he beats Makhachev, he can't really be considered undisputed.
Until he beats my guy.
Yeah. I mean,
that's his boy, though.
Do you really think that it's the top contenders in the division, but only until you beat my guy that I've trained and dealt with my whole life?
But hold on, though. Do you think that it's fair, though, to say that he, isn't in the greatest yet, but is working his way towards it, though?
Yeah, I definitely feel
because if we're talking like him versus Khabib.
Yeah, I genuinely I get what you were getting at. I genuinely feel as though you could argue really at that point now that Charles Oliveira has beat better competition than Khabib did in his title run. And he's so widely regarded as the best. And granted, he was super dominant in those fights. And I feel like that may be where Khabib still edges out Oliveira, even with me being an Oliveira fan. Khabib wasn't getting knocked down twice in the Gaethje fight and then, pulling off the victory that he did. Granted, the fights were more entertaining, in my opinion, with the Charles Oliveira stuff because of he brings a fight, every time. He's not just implementing his style, essentially. But I don't think he's necessarily at that point, but I definitely think the argument's there. You talk about who he's beat. It's, most of them are the same people. And in my opinion, this current stage of them, especially after losing to a Khabib, have actually improved. Like Poirier has improved his game, in my opinion. Justin Gaethje as well improved his game. Like I feel as though him beating Chandler, like in the way that he did and stuff, it's to even earn the belt in the first place. I feel as though it's genuinely an argument that he's already beat better people than, Ally Quinta and stuff like that.
But hold on though. So we didn't say though who's beat better people. We said who is better in legacy, and the reason why I'm not saying that he can't be there, but the reason why Charles Oliveira cannot be put over Khabib or even in the conversation with him yet, in my opinion, is because he won the title, but he never defended it because he lost it on the scale, whether by whatever the case.
He defended it against Poirier, and that's a defense. He defended it against Poirier. He won it against Chandler, defended it
but
against Poirier.
He wasn't the full champion at that point.
Yeah,
he wasn't the full champion.
No, that was
interim
the full belt. No, that was the
okay.
full
So
belt.
he's got one defense though. Khabib had multiple. Then now he lost the title. Sure, but whatever though, because he's gonna have to win. He's gonna have to win the title back and then win at least 2 more fights after that to even tie that number. Because when you talk about that, you got to talk about. We always talk about you're not the real champion until you really defend the title. Which again, I think Charles Oliveira right now is the best lightweight in the world. I'm not arguing that at all. But what I'm saying is whether I feel bad or not for the guy, which I do feel bad, especially in this conversation with it only being a half pound, but you still lost the belt on the scale. So if we're talking about legacies, I think that he needs to win a few more fights, and I definitely think that he's more capable of it. But I think the bigger question for Charles Oliveira is, like you said, is he going to be able to survive 3 more fights with the way that his style is? Because he gets literally what Khabib said is 100% fact in that he gets dropped in every fight.
Yeah.
How many times can you get off your ass and win?
Yeah.
Like, say what you want, but if you're getting put on your ass in every fight, how many times can you get off your ass
that chin every time, dude?
I mean, yeah, but if you're too scared to follow him down, then he's able to get right back up. You know what I mean? So it is a two-edged sword.
Yeah, but I feel like if he keeps getting hurt, I don't think everybody's going to have too much of a problem following him down, though, either.
One thing I have to point out, because it's Khabib talking this shit, Khabib should have lost his title in the scale in Abu Dhabi.
That's true.
If we're wanting to bring up
not arguing
the belt on the scale.
True.
I
just like how he says he's got to fight his boy.
And that bitch went whoop straight to the top, like fucking it was on fire, and the dude's like, "Yep, you made weight. Get off the scale. You're good."
Yeah.
And so if Khabib's talking that shit, that's like DC saying that, like, "Oh, dude, you should have just grabbed the towel, bro. You'd have been fine."
Yeah, right.
Like, come on, Doc.
It's crazy. Khabib, great fighter. Don't get me wrong, but I love how people hang on what he says only because he never lost. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just like he said earlier, he's not really the champ until he beats this guy. Like, says who? Why? Because Oliveira has definitely proven himself to be maybe not physically the champion, but quote unquote a champion. That dude is world class.
No argument there.
So for Khabib to say I'm sorry, that's just stupid. Get up there and fight. Get up there and fight him then, and then you can have that argument if he loses. But for you just be like, the champ, so he fights. Guy.
But that again goes back to what we said last week, though, and that the tough part about this is the fact that Oliveira had already missed weight a bunch at 145. Whether it be because he shouldn't have been at 145 or not, I feel like a lot of what caused him a lot of the problem he did with the way this went down is the fact that he had not only missed weight, he had also missed weight multiple times before that. Now, granted, has he shown that he can make 155? No argument there. Not at all saying that he didn't show that, I'm not at all saying that he didn't say that, he didn't prove that he can make it at 155. I'm just saying the fact that it's, and it was multiple times. Yeah. I think that makes it makes it a little bit worse.
It adds an extra layer. It adds an extra layer to the paint of the hate that he's going to receive for it, and rightfully so. To your point, because that's the one thing that's for sure. Your opponent can change, your fight position can change, the time, everything can change. But when you sign on that line, the weight's not going to, unless you're some crazy thing where Paulo Costa demands the fight to be at 205, and then weighs in at heavyweight. Unless some crazy fucking Paulo Costa shit happens, the fight weight is the one thing that's supposed to be predetermined when you sign that bout. So I agree with the 145 thing. He's also, to your point, since making the move to 55, this is his first weight miss, and yet again. I like Ariel Helwani's point on this the most. We've seen a million times, if you actually watch the weigh-in videos, where champs get ushered off the scale. They're within reason. They're, 0.2, 0.5, 0.7. They're within the reasonable doubt, and then they get ushered off the scale. I don't feel as though that's a reasonable way to, come on, super duper weight stickler when you're within the reason, within margin on a
championship fight though. You gotta weigh the fight though.
But it's a for anybody who's ever used one of the doctor scales, which I'm sure we all have.
I'm not saying they don't need to do more to make sure that the scale is more accurate, but as far as a title fight, that's one thing I stick to. I'm not saying it's a big enough thing to say that Oliveira isn't the best lightweight in the world right now, but a title fight, you need to weigh the weight.
You think that if this would have went down and they'd have been like, oh no, he's good, and then Gaethje would have been like, dude, he's a half pound. Do you think that'd have been a problem?
Well, so if it was the other way, if Gaethje was the one, I'm
saying if they allowed him to fight. They just disregarded the whole half pound thing, champion, whatever title fight's on. And then later on, Gaethje wins or loses, whatever it is. Do you think he'd be like, no, the scale was fucked up. He was a half pound over. Do you think that would have mattered to him?
Well, Nate,
I don't think Gaethje cared either way.
Yeah. But I mean, Nick Diaz still to this day brings up the fact that the Quebec Commission or one of the Canadian commissions allowed GSP to have the point whatever not be included in championship weight when they fought up in Canada back in the day. Right. I've heard that be brought up in 12 plus different interviews from the guy. So maybe, but really in my eyes, the point shouldn't count in my opinion because of the within reason of scale. That's within margin.
In a title fight though?
I mean, maybe we should ask the challenger at that point.
He wasn't 156. He was 155.
He was 156 when he first came. But no, when he first came out and weighed in, he was at 156.
Yeah,
and then when he weighed in the second time, he was a pound
but his
over.
First time, he was still in his underwear and not behind the curtain too. Right. So you're telling me
still though? I mean, he
point.
I'm saying maybe
numbers on the scale read 155. When everything
I think this just shows they need a more accurate way to do the scales, and I'm not saying that it wasn't.
In that sense, maybe we say, hey, Gaethje, this is what the matter of hand is here. What do you think? And if he's like, fuck that, dude, then fine. But if he's like, all right, that's fine, I say throw it out. Let the fight go.
I mean, they did let the fight go. I mean, if they did let the fight go.
As far as stripping the title and doing all for the title, though. Because at that point,
but you got to remember, though, it doesn't ruin it, though, because Gaethje still had the chance to win the title.
You're right.
Nothing changes for Gaethje.
It's like a gray area.
That's why I say, I'm not saying that Oliveira shouldn't have been allowed to fight, and I'm not saying that it doesn't show that he's best lightweight in the world right now. But I do think that there needs to be like that some type of designation for a title fight that you have to make the weight. Now, granted, I'm not saying that there might not have been something that threw it off, or something might have been off, or even with it only being a half pound. But then again, part of that bad light that was coming on Oliveira, you got to remember, Oliveira also brought some of that himself by the fact that he had all those weight misses before. So, I mean, there's a lot of different things that you got to look at when it goes into that. I think if he continues to win and win in the fashion that he's been winning, I think that it's not an argument that he's going to be, one of the best lightweights in the world. I think he already is one of the best lightweights, but I do think that he needs to get a couple more wins, especially given the controversy that happened with that one, in order for me to fully put him legacy-wise over Khabib. But with that being said, man, we are in the single digits. Son of a bitch. We are headed to Vegas next Friday. Ryan McKinnell is going to join us this Tuesday to talk about AEW Double or Nothing. We're going to make our full picks for the pay-per-view with Ryan McKinnell on Tuesday. I don't know. I'm ready for Vegas. I don't even know how else to put it.
They ain't ready for us.
Damn straight. I don't know. I think that's about as good a way as any to end it. They ain't ready. They ain't ready. Inside out, like they say with Five Finger, man, we might have to turn Vegas inside out. Turn in Tuesday. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're new here. Hey, we appreciate the time. Peace. Shout out to G3 Payroll and Tax. Shout out to Caudill's Lawn Service. Peace.
Peace.